Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make. The choices other people make. Why we choose to ignore the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, addiction, mental illness, and much more. What role do they play in relationships? Follow me each week as we discuss these topics with anonymous guests and experts to hopefully become better humans, resulting in better choices. Like I say, been there, still doing that. Now on to the show. Welcome, Anonymous Andrew, here tonight. I just had therapy. I have therapy once a week, and I had mentioned, I don't know, episode 1 or 2, that I am doing a form of therapy called EMDR. EMDR is a method of rapid eye movement when the therapist ask you to think of a traumatic event so it's used for trauma victims of horrible trauma. And I had mentioned this earlier, that it could be major childhood abuse, physical or sexual or emotional. It could be used for everything from horrible tragedies in one person's life, and it's veterans of foreign war, etc. But the trauma can be ongoing for years, as in like maybe somebody had been victimized or kidnapped or held captive, and they went through a traumatic 5-year whatever and finally got released. I'm thinking about like the hostages back in the 70s and 80s when they were grabbing Americans overseas. But the single incident trauma that they developed for people with not such severe trauma as something like rape or childhood abuse or sexual abuse or wartime, it's for specifically, I guess, things like what happened to me. I went through a 2-year relationship, and when the relationship ended abruptly and I found out what she was doing on her own time and how I felt used, cheated on, deceived, gaslit, and many other things. There's a period of trauma afterwards. And this EMDR therapy is designed where you pick a single incident within that 2-year period. Now, there was a lot of trauma, but the trauma that I picked was the day that I was offered her body in a sexual way, but I couldn't touch it. But I could use her visual naked body to please myself. Folks, that is extremely traumatic. If you're a loyal boyfriend or partner and your partner comes over and it was obvious that her pelvis region was engorged, it was inflamed. This was on a Saturday or a Sunday, I don't remember, but it was the weekend. And it was obvious. And plus, she looked like she had been up all night. She had bags under her eyes. She just does not look like the queen that I had grown to love. So obviously she had been out all night doing something. And I know what that is, but we'll leave that alone. But my therapist made me go there. He made me visualize that trauma, that scene, that visualization in my head of what I saw when I looked down at her naked body. And I'm telling you, it was horrific. And so we do rapid eye movement where I pick 2 points in front of me, like that you have to. So I take like a water bottle on the left and a water bottle on the right, like 3 feet apart, and you have to rapidly move your eyes left and right, very quickly, almost to the point where it hurts your eyes. The more you do it, obviously, the muscles in your eyes get used to it. But the first couple of times I did it, it was very difficult. But you have to really live that moment. While I'm doing the eye movement, I'm told to think of nothing but what I saw that day. And so I'm thinking of what I looked at while she lay on my bed and offered her body to me, but virtually. I couldn't touch it. Folks, I have to tell you how disgusting that idea was, knowing that that body had been used the previous 6 to 8 or 12 hours by either multiple men or one man who used her body all night, whatever the case is. But I had to relive that during this rapid eye movement, and it is extremely uncomfortable. And so I said to the therapist, I said, why are we doing this? Why am I reliving this? And he said, excuse me, he said, you have to get through the storm to get to the other side. This is third or fourth week that we're into this, and it's a therapy that goes on for a while until you can. What they do is, at the end of the session, they 10 or 15 minutes before the session ends, then you think of a happy place. You find a place in your mind that's a happy place. It could be anything that you know, some people, a happy place is sitting in front of a fire with a book, you know, with a nice blanket and a candle or a glass of wine. Others, it could be a beach, it could be paradise, it could be other people, it could be, you know, climbing Mount Everest. It's to each their own, whatever their happy place is. So then we do the rapid eye movement with the happy place. This is some therapy, I got to tell you. And I literally just got off the call with my therapist, and wow, my head is just filled with anger, disgust, self-loathing for allowing myself to let this happen. I'm not sure when I'm going to air this. One of the great things about podcasting and having a microphone is I can just pop on and do like an audio journal or monologue. Some podcasters call it a solo podcast or a solo episode. I just had to pop on here and empty my resentments, anger, disgust, all the emotions that I'm feeling right now. Of course, I'm going to go meditate before I go to bed and go to my happy place, and hopefully I will get a good night's sleep. But this was a rough therapeutic session tonight. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I don't really have any enemies, although I can think of a couple that whatever. Folks, I'm always going to circle back to why I started this podcast. What I went through in this relationship, and it is not anybody's fault because I stayed. It's my fault, if anybody's fault. I saw the signs early on, very early on. And that's something else we're going to get into, why I didn't put my foot down and walk away. And we're going to talk about that in more episodes. I actually have somebody lined up to talk about their relationship. I'm starting to get people calling me or DMing me and wanting to share their story. As I said in the trailer, I cannot be the only person that has had this horrendous relationship experience. So I'm almost speechless because it's started this podcast to process this post-breakup heartbroken shell of a man that I was. I'm starting to fill in the emptiness and the void with some self-love and self-worth. What this woman stripped me of, and again, I'm not pointing fingers. I allowed this to happen to me because I had free will to walk away, but I did not. So this is just something that I am dealing with. And at some point I have to forgive myself. Not that easy. Not that easy. So, anyway, I just recorded this. I don't know when I'm going to post this. I may just archive it, or maybe I'll throw it up in the morning or something, just as a the episodes. You can have full episodes, or you can have what they call a bonus episode, where you can just throw something up there as a bonus. I may just do a bonus on this, folks. I want you to hear what's going on in my head. I want to share with you what's happening, and how these, oh God, I just hate using the word toxic. These horrible relationships with these gaslighters and cheaters and narcissists, what they do to their victims. It's just how one person could put their head on their pillow at night knowing that they did this to somebody and sleep peacefully. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's not. Actually, I'm pretty sure she's not, because there were times that she came over and told me that she was she didn't get much sleep the night before. There were telltale signs that I saw the guilt in her demeanor, and I could tell you some other things that I saw, but I'll keep them to myself at this moment. Folks, please, if you're in a relationship and your gut and your intuition is telling you that there is something going on with your partner, trust your intuition. Don't doubt. Don't allow them to gaslight you. Don't allow them to confuse you and call you paranoid, or distract you by one of the tactics they use is turn it around on you. If you say, oh, I know you're cheating on me, they're going to turn around and go, no, I know you're cheating on me. And then all of a sudden you find yourself defending yourself, and that just takes the focus off of them. If you're in this type of relationship, I urge you to please sit down and reflect on whether this is what you really want. If you listen to the episode with my son, the two-part interview, it'll never get better. We think it will. We try to make things better. Marry me, move in with me, take you on vacations. You think it's going to make it better. You're just going to spend money. You're going to spin your wheels. And this person is going to take advantage of you until they can't anymore, until it finally ends, or they have no use for you anymore. And that's, I think, what happened to me. She actually said to me right before the end, I'm no longer attracted to you. And in the very beginning, I was the most handsome man in the world to her. And then she asked me to grow my hair, and I grew my hair, and she was just loving it. And at the very end, I was told that I'm not attracted to you anymore. And that was just her way of saying, I'm done with you. I no longer need you. You no longer serve a purpose to me. So please get out now while you can. I know it doesn't feel like it while you're in it, but after you're out of the relationship and you look back 6 months later, you're going to realize it was the right decision. Okay, I got to go to bed. It's been a long, emotional day. All right, Anonymous Andrew saying, I almost don't want to say it this time. If it feels good, do it, but please choose wisely. Really think about your next choice. Ciao.